but this is our annual leadership panel, and there's nothing else to say. Everybody on this panel is a boss, and you should learn from them. So to that end, I want to welcome Pat McGrew first. If you can just tap your mic or something. There you are. So we pop you on the screen. Pat McGrew helps companies perform better. As managing director for McGrew Group, she promotes best practices for your business, leveraging her work as an executive, marketer, analyst, industry evangelist, and consultant to enable business growth. As an experienced professional speaker and author of 8 business books, Pat is also the editor of a guide to the electronic document body of knowledge, real page turner there, a regular industry content contributor to my website, Print Media Center as well, host of Print Sample TV, and co-host of the Print Report podcast with me on Podcasts from the Printiverse. She won the 2014 GIRLIE Award, Girls Who Print GIRLIE Award. She was the first recipient of that. We hear Jonathan in the background. And the 2016 Explore Brian Platt, I think. Lifetime Achievement.
Brian Platty.
My apologies. The 2016 Explore Brian Platty Lifetime Achievement Award. She is certified as a Lifetime Master Electronic Document Professional by Explore, and as a color management professional, CMP Digital and Brand IQ Professional by Idea Alliance. This woman is credentialed, everybody. Welcome, Patricia. Vanecia, V, where are you? If you could just tap your mic and get on the screen.
Hello.
Yay. Vanecia, who also goes as V, is the Senior Director of Marketing and Product Development at Domtar Paper. V has over 15 years of paper and print inside sales, product management, and marketing experience. She is passionate about the excitement, effectiveness, and enjoyment that good marketing can generate. At Domtar, she oversees the marketing and product strategy while also inspiring and educating customers, influencers, and the next generation of professionals through Domtar's Paper Matters magazine and blog and gallery and resources and events, and everything that V touches is just impeccable and geared to educate and inspire. And I am thrilled to death. This is a 3-peat or a 4-peat for you. I've lost track, but it's always a good time when V is around. Julie Shaffer, who just won the GIRLIE Award, is the Vice President of Program Development at the Association for Print Technologies. Julie, if you could just tap your desk or your mic and pop on the screen. For everyone watching in the speaker view, that's how you have to change the view. She is a driven professional who can develop a conference from the ground up that's always even better than last year. Build out learning management systems and specific courses to fill it, write an article or a book, create and execute an integrated media marketing program, present a seminar, and keep a budget balanced for the differing requirements of a corporation or a non-profit association, which is why she has won the GIRLIE Award this year. Keeana Barber joined us this morning. She is the CEO of WDB Marketing, a full-service marketing company that specializes in brand management, graphic design, marketing solutions, and full-service printing. She's proud to say that they manufacture all their print services in-house, making them the first African-American-owned full-service printing manufacturing in the south suburbs of Chicago. To date, WDB Marketing has proudly serviced over 5,000 businesses and entrepreneurs in industries such as retail, professional services, and not-for-profit. Last but not least, Kelly Mallozzi is the principal at Success in Print. She's girl number 2 at Girls Who Print. Her mission is to help printers of all sizes engage more effectively with their audiences. Her area of focus includes sales training and coaching, facilitating workshops, creating meaningful sales-driven content, and marketing communications projects. Kelly, welcome to the panel. You get to be a panelist now.
Oh, I'm so happy. Hi, everybody.
Hi, I don't often introduce myself, but I've been told that I should, so I'm going to actually do it. I am the self-proclaimed intergalactic ambassador to the Printerverse. I provide printspiration and resources to print and marketing professionals through my website, printmediacenter.com. I have over 25 years experience working in advertising as a print producer, and I currently work behind the scenes with printers, industry suppliers, events, and organizations, helping them form meaningful relationships with customers and achieve success with their sales, social media, marketing, content, and educational endeavors. I will leave it like that because I have a long bio. Okay. I want to, start off by saying that our panelists all give back to the print community. They support students and young entrepreneurs. They champion the industry. They champion local community causes. And one may even be running for an office in their town government. We'll find out in a moment. So first of all, thank you all so much for joining us and for your service to the industry, to the community, and to the world. You make it a better place. And I'd really like for all of you to share some of the give backs that you have been involved in or that you are currently involved in. And I will start with Pat McGrew.
Yeah, I had to unmute because someone's trying to get my attention.
Oh.
Did the fun thing about having been hanging around print for 40 years is that your career goes in ups and downs. So there's times when you're asking for help, and there's times when you're giving help. And I've been really lucky, especially in this last year and a half, to be able to work with people who needed a little bit of help to try and get through the fun we've all been having for the last year and a half. So a couple of things. I'm 1-800-PAT for you, but I'm actually 1-800-PAT for a lot of people. I get the weird phone calls, and I think probably all of us who are on this panel, right? You've got your group of people who will reach out to you with the weird problems. My boss isn't treating me well. How do I have this certain kind of conversation? The really sad ones, I have to fire somebody. I'm not really sure how to do it. I've done all the right, what are the right things to do? Two, the other end of the spectrum, which is I got to change jobs. I just have to change. What do I need to learn so that I can go get that other job? So I'm just like a utility infielder on a baseball team.
Yeah. And I do want to say also that for all of you who might have ever reached out to me through any of my many channels, and if I didn't immediately know the person that you needed to go to, I went to my go-to, which is Pat McGrew, and I 1-800-PAT McGrew her, and I'm like, okay, Pat, here's a good one. And they're usually pretty good ones. Like
they are weird
somebody's looking for a printer in Belarus, but also in 3 other surrounding countries, because there's something that has to happen at the same time. And all right, I'll get right back to you.
We need a printer in Moscow.
Right.
Okay, I got one.
Okay. What was somebody was trying to print on something really weird that one time. I don't remember what it was now, but it was like, sometimes we're like trying to see if like there's a way we can even figure out how to combine technologies to help people. So it's very interesting. Thank you for all you do and all that you do to give back. V, I have been seeing so many amazing things that you personally and you through Domtar have been doing of late. And I really just want you to share everything, as well as to congratulate you on getting your master's, your MBA during the freaking pandemic, everybody. Congratulations on that. V, take over.
Well, thank you.
Take the wheel.
First, I will say today I am being honored for being named top 40 under 40 by the Charlotte Business Journal. So that event is actually happening tonight. So this is a fun-filled day, all about the girls.
Congratulations.
Yeah, so it's a lot of fun. So for me, content and education and providing resources has always been one of the ways that we have participated from Domtar perspective. So you mentioned in my introduction, Paper Matters magazine, and that originally started as Blue Line magazine. Prior to that was Printworks magazine. So it's kind of had an evolution, but really providing resources and education and guidance to help people understand the effectiveness of print on paper. That's sort of been the primary thing. And then from a personal perspective, my thing is education. So I'm super passionate about especially early education. So I serve on the School Improvement Council, and I serve on a board of a local nonprofit for school supplies for children who don't have access, and just making sure that children have the things that they need starting out so that they can be more successful as adults and enter the workforce with dignity, enter, higher education with dignity. And so that's been really important to me. And that's what I'm passionate about personally.
Thank you so much for everything you do to give back. And I think I remember, like, when the pandemic first kicked off, Domtar was instrumental in helping women get diapers for babies, for families get diapers for babies too.
Yes.
Didn't even realize how important the paper industry is to making diapers. So you really, I mean, when people say, well, we're not saving lives here, sometimes I'm like, we kind of are in some ways, whether it's being able to read how to take a medicine, or being able to make sure that people have access to things they need for their families. I think that, we undersell the print industry in some ways. So thank you so much for always reminding us, Fee, just by your presence, that it can be bigger than an individual. Thank you so much. Julie?
Sorry, I had to unmute there.
It's okay.
I do a bit in the world of autism. I have a brother who's autistic, so I sort of grew up and know that very well. And so I work to support him and others who are dealing with that. But from a professional side, look, I've been involved in education, as most of us have forever. And, I can't even, it's been innumerable programs. I spent years, I was a road warrior for many years, where I traveled 50% of the time doing seminars, and it was often supporting books that we wrote. And we wrote the books for specific issues that mattered. When PDF was a big deal and nobody knew how to make them right. I think that's still kind of the case, unfortunately. Hey, I need to do edition 4 of the PDF book. We went around, we talked to people, and some of the more wonderful things that happened during that time I'd have a designer a couple times come up to me with an older copy of the book. It was all dog-eared and marked, and pieces of paper sticking out of it, and said, this really helped me so much. And that's when you can hear someone say to you, hey, you helped me in my career, and they directly off of something that you did. That's a pretty wonderful thing. So it's been an honor to be able to do that. But really, I just spend all of my work career dedicated to helping other people. So I wish I could point to something more granular than that, but that's just what I do.
You don't need to disclaim it. That is, people don't give back, Julie. So it's really, nice time for a telemarketer to call me, but we'll get rid of that. Okay. Thank you so much. And really, thank you for all you do. You just won the GIRLIE Award, so don't sell yourself short, which is topic of some of our conversations here. Keeana, Barber, you are the queen of giving back.
The queen of giving back. I might have to take that title. I thank you. Yes. Just again, good morning again to everybody. Just like the ladies have said, I think my biggest give back is really just being a resource. As you mentioned, we work with thousands of business owners, and for many of them, we are definitely more than just a print company. We're mentors, we're offering resources, we're connecting them to each other so they could become more successful. So that's the biggest mission, that my company houses. We become known for an event that I know, Deb, you're a fan of. We host a gala every year called the Legacy Awards. So it's a celebration for the impact of Black entrepreneurs. We highlight amazing people from the industry, but the favorite part of the event is that we do a Young Entrepreneur Award. So you have to be 25 and younger and in business, active in business. They pitch their business live in front of about 600 entrepreneurs. So imagine you have this huge event, all these powerful people there, and we put these young babies, as I call them, in the front to really highlight their business pitch. They win everything from cash. I always tell people it's over 10,000 in value. And they said, you give out 10,000 in cash. And I'm like, we give some cash, but we really give the things that help push the business. So they get 2,500 in free marketing and print support from our company. They get free accounting support. They get free legal support. They get a PR campaign. So they get help to get put on the news and things like that. So that's become something that my company has become known for. And again, just like the ladies here, like just did it organically. We have been in business 10 years. We have worked with so many amazing businesses. I said, our clients need to really know each other and connect in a different way. Because as you know, in print, you might be in and out, or our customers never see each other. So we created this event as a way for them to be able to connect, and it's grown partnerships and events. All of our young entrepreneurs, I still mentor, I still work with. Some of them even do work for us now. So again, just giving back and just doing things that we felt just to fill in the gaps has become something that's, really been powerful for a lot of people.
Now, Keeana, can anybody get involved with helping with your event and maybe offering services, or are you looking for people really in the Chicagoland area?
No, absolutely. This can be a national thing. People have asked that actually. So yeah, people can get involved. We always looking for sponsors. So sponsors help the event. One thing I love about our gala is we keep it very affordable. So it's not hoity-toity. It's not $250, $500 tickets. We have it so that entrepreneurs who just started their business can be in the room with people who've been in business 15, 20, 30 years. So we do that by having affordable tickets. We're always looking for sponsors for the prizes. So we look for people to step up. I, of course, tap into my network, but I would love to expand this, because the more we expand it, the more powerful the impact to be for the winners. So we definitely are looking for people who want to sponsor, partner. We do a Black restaurant showcase as a part of it. We do a lot of great things to really just highlight and magnify. So if people want to get involved, I will put my info in the chat, because it's something, again, the impact is greater than just us. We're just a conduit for people to be able to work together and do other things.
Right. And I mean, that's, the point of Girls Who Print Day and women empowerment and long and prosper is exactly this. You're doing something that really helps people and really helps, young entrepreneurs get into business. And, what an amazing thing for all of us to support. Thank you so much for everything you do. Kelly, as if you noticed, no one stepped up on that who's running for government office. So I think by virtue of process of elimination, it's you. Congratulations.
It's me.
Can
It's
you
me.
please
That's true.
tell everybody the myriad of things that you give back to, and I will sit down and take a break during this.
Well, being girl number 2 in Girls Who Print is really the biggest joy, and just everything I can do to help the industry, help the females in the industry, whether it's blogging, whether it's co-hosting the podcast, whether it's being pretty active in the mentorship movement. And I do have a handful of mentees right now. And I'm always willing to add one more. So those are some of the major things. I also love it when PIA affiliates reach out and ask me to come and speak at a women in print event or something like that. So those are things I'm always happy to do when it's feasible. And yes, I am running for town council in my town. So in addition to everything else, I've been knocking on hundreds of doors in my community, which has been absolutely phenomenal in terms of meeting people in my community that I wouldn't have otherwise known, learning more about the communities. And then very, very active in my kids' PTA and volunteering in a school in a neighboring community, mentoring a young woman and volunteering in a pre-K class. So those are pretty much the highlights for me.
Thank you so much for all you do for Girls Who Print, for all you do to help me, help everybody else, and just for all you do for the printing industry. It is really important, and I, really appreciate it as well. Okay, so now we're going to start the discussion, and I have an outline, but I'm going to move around a little bit here. And what I want to start out with is the gig economy is upon us. Temporary and flexible working, specialists hired for tasks, outsourcing of entire departments like marketing, for example, that this shift is significant, and it leads to having to know your value, whether it's per hour or per project or per campaign, and so on, when you are seeking opportunities to essentially bid against all these other freelancers and consultants. So my open question, and I'm going to actually ask Pat to answer first because she does this all the time, is how do you price yourself? And what is your advice regarding negotiation of your worth?
All right, so you and I have had this conversation a lot. Over the entire length of our relationship, we have had this conversation. And I can remember at a project I pulled you in on that I was working on, and we talked about it, and you said, wait, how much? And here's the thing. We have a tendency to try and break it down to hours. How much per hour? How much per, how many hours is it going to take me to do this project, and how much per hour do I want to charge? And I'm going to recommend you don't do that, because that puts you into a commodity situation. That is like all the printers who are trying to be the lowest cost of print provider, and you don't lift your reputation that way. What you do is you become a commodity player. Everybody sitting on this call, clearly you're here because you're trying to learn more, position yourself well. Some of you have a lot of experience. Some of you are just starting the journey, but you know things. And what you know is not an hourly thing. It is the sum total of why someone is coming to you in the first place and asking you to either help them or at least bid on a project that they have for you to do. So I don't have an hourly rate. And I simply won't define an hourly rate. I get into arguments with some of my clients, with the procurement people, with some of my clients from time to time, because they want to know how much per hour this project is. And you can put any numbers in those fields you would like. Here is what I'm charging you for it. How long it actually takes, I will meet your delivery date. I will meet the quality specification that we have defined for this project. I will meet the insight level you expect from me, but it is not a this many dollars per this many hours kind of conversation. And that's the most important thing I would say to anybody, no matter what you are selling, whether it is consulting or you're ghostwriting for people. I have this conversation with people all the time. Well, how much per word do you charge to ghostwrite for our executive? I said, you tell me what you want him to say or her to say. You tell me how many words you want it to be, what the general take on it. Give me a little bit of material. Here's what it's going to cost. And can you find someone else cheaper who will do it for, 10 cents per word? Yep, you probably can. Will you get what I can do for you? No, you will not. Right. So that's my best advice.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Keeana, we're going to go to you because you're pricing products and services, and you're bidding against other printers. And in some cases, we know now that there are certainly printers out there who are just willing to do it on fumes to get the work, with this fantasy that if I do it once at this price, they will become a customer. And I'm a print customer. And let me tell you something. That is a losing strategy, because when I come back and now it's going to be the real price, I want to understand why I'm paying more for it when I didn't pay more for it last time. And then I might take that price that is lower and go shop it somewhere else. And all I am doing is pushing the price to the bottom. And in some cases, as a savvy print customer with a, couple $100 million budget, that is my job. And I will do what I need to do. So Keeana, how do you price your business? What are the things that, you also consider besides the cost of material and time?
Sure. Well, one, I just learned a lot from Pat. So I'm gonna try to put that into play, Pat. I think that was very powerful because we do marketing as well. And like you said, oftentimes you understand the total value, but when it comes to the hourly rate, I price things and I'm like, it just doesn't, it's not adding up because you understand the actual value that you give. That was truly valuable for me. For me, printing is a great question because you have these online printers that for the most part, they're huge. So you can't really compete with them. So what we do is our pricing I consider is fair, but it's really more the value you get. So I talked to someone a long time ago and they said, why do customers buy from you? What are they buying? Are they actually buying a print product? They're really buying assurance. They're buying the quality. They're buying the speed that we can do with that, and they're buying our expertise. So when you add all of those variables in, you're not pricing yourself as the same as I don't want to name any, printers. Let's say the Vista prints, the huge printers of the world that can do $11 business cards. I tell people we're not an $11 business card company. We can't. We don't have that same model. We don't have that same value, but these are the things that you get. And again, this is about understanding your audience and what they really want at the core. We sell printing products, but again, we're selling quality, we're selling speed, we're selling our years of expertise. So we're advising you. And when you add all of those things in, to Patricia's point, you're not pricing yourself amongst it because now you can't compare it because the value that we give and the experience that we bring is not what someone up the street is going to bring because we're unique.
I would also say that there is no price on trust. Trust puts everything out the window. If I can sleep at night knowing that Keeana has my job, Keeana's going to get my job every single time, no matter what it costs, as long as I can justify it if I'm triple bidding in a publicly traded corporation. Just making that disclaimer. But what I'm saying is that that peace of mind, that knowing that they know my color, they know what's going to happen if it doesn't get there, or they communicate with me in the way that I need to be communicated with, you can't put a price on that. Although, unfortunately, we have to, and that's why we're having this conversation. But I would just say to you that I would add that to your value proposition and probably get some customers talking about things of that nature. Go ahead.
That's actually one of our brand value words. I don't know how I forgot that, but you're right. That's literally the number one reason that people come, that because they can trust us and they know they can go somewhere else, but they know we're going to get it done for them.
Cool. Julie, you've moved around the industry. You've had a few jobs over your career. So how do you price yourself, salary wise? And, I really want to, focus a little more on like the negotiation part and maybe standing your ground on certain things, please.
Well, sure. Well, I was with the same organization for a number of years, but if you would look at my list of job titles, it changed probably every 2 or 3 years. And with that came a corresponding, usually change in salary as well. And so for me, it's been a constant reinvention of what you bring and making sure that, your organization knows what you're bringing and that you're highly visible. And I think that's the same for almost anybody who's doing consulting. Now I'm not doing that, right? I'm a salaried employee, but I also have products and services that I develop that are also being sold. And so, you basically say, look, here's where we've been. Here's what I've done to help move the needle for this organization. And for that, I think that my title should change. And I'd also like to see a compensation change for that as well. And, it's, most people are not going to come back to you and say, nah, that's not true. Especially if you're bringing, what you've actually done, you need to be able to articulate that and you need to be able to record that. I sometimes find myself looking back over the past year or so and thinking, well, what have I done this year? And then you start to actually write that down, redo your own CV of yourself for yourself every year to show what you bring. And when you see, you sometimes are surprised at what you've managed to accomplish and what you've managed to do for your organization. So, I mean, that's my advice. Be aware, make sure you are always doing something that helps move the needle for your organization, and that everybody knows that's the case. And then you're right up there. I'm known for telling it like it is. So I don't think anybody's ever accused me of, like, hiding how I feel about things.
Mhm.
And so I'm
Yeah.
happy to do that where I work as well.
V, are you there? Where's V?
I'm here.
I want I want to get your perspective on being on the other end of that, on being on the things you hear maybe from candidates, especially women, or and you know what I'm saying. So I want to give you the because you've been at Domtar for a long time too, but you actually hire people and offer them salaries. So I want to know about your experience, and if you've ascertained any patterns that maybe you have some advice on for the women out there as far as negotiating their salaries.
So I will say most women don't. They accept an offer and they just move on. Almost every man I've ever offered something to has at least come back and asked for more. And so I think it, and Julie, you sold yourself short, which I think a lot of times women do. Men will apply for a job they are 10% qualified for and expect to get it. Women will not apply for a job unless they feel confident that they can do 100% of the job, and then will still feel like they might not get it. And so how do we shift that perspective? And I almost think of it like, think like a man, act like a lady, almost. Like, I don't want to act like a man. I don't want to be perceived as I'm trying to pretend I'm a man, but I do want to think like men think from a corporate perspective, because they always come in with this level of, I got this, that is sometimes difficult to see in women. And so I will say the first thing is, don't be afraid to negotiate, because you can ask for more, and the worst that can happen is they say no. And if you were fine with it to begin with, then, the worst that can happen is you get what you originally were going to be given. The other thing is, don't be afraid to toot your own horn. I mean, I'm not the most, I'm not cocky, but I am not reserved and super humble. I'm willing to tell you, like, it's funny. I said to my friend just yesterday, I've got a mentor and she loves being my mentee because I'm the SHIT. And that's not to say that I'm like super cocky and all this or whatever, but the reality is, I know what I'm doing. I know what I bring to the table. I know what I offer, and people respect me for that. And I don't do it in a braggadocious way. I do it in a way that's respectful. But at the same time, I recognize that I am different in this industry. I work in the paper industry. There are not that many Black people, let alone Black women, let alone Black women under the age of 40. So once you add all those things together, I owe it to myself and to the people that are going to come after me to pave the way for something that's not an old white man in this industry. And it's interesting because I think, Keeana, you were looking for someone, like, I think in the paper merchant world or in the mill world, and Deborah came to me and asked me.
That was actually Dante from our podcast, but yes.
Oh, okay. But it was one of those questions. Can you help me find, a sales rep in the industry? And I couldn't find one in the merchant world. I mean, there wasn't one. And there are a handful of Black sales reps in the paper world, but not necessarily in the merchant world. And so for me, it's women have to feel confident especially in an industry that's male dominated, to know their value, know their worth, and not be afraid to ask for it.
Thank you so much, V. Kelly, you do work with printing companies of many different sizes. So do you have to be flexible in your rate? Does it just scale up and down? I mean, how do you ask maybe for this? You're doing the same work, in other words. So how do you negotiate that without having someone else say, well, you only charge this company this much, please?
Yeah, I try to stay focused on this notion. It's not what it costs, it's what it's worth. I think that's I had that philosophy when I sold printing. I had that philosophy even earlier in my career, but now it's almost like I would be willing to walk into the place with that amount of cash in my hand and say, if when I leave here, you don't think I earned this, I'm gonna just give it right back to you. you know, so it's like the confidence of knowing that they're going to feel like they made a good investment when that they hired me. And so I, you know, especially when you start to think about what are all the things that are going to happen, you know, what are all the changes that are going to be made once they've worked with me, and, you know, all the results that are going to happen associated with it. It's just having kind of a confidence, and also it's almost, unfortunately, like V says, it is a little bit of cockiness, like you don't want to pay, I'm not going to play. You know, like I know, and especially, you know, knowing some other people in the industry, you know, I know what Bill charges, so I know it's fair. And what we're all seeking, Keeana said this, we are seeking fairness in all things. I charge a fair price, I give a fair price, right? That's really what we should all be seeking, is fairness.
Thank you so much for that.
Mhm.
I want to focus now a little on, you know, moving forward as we are coming out of COVID and this post-pandemic world, and, you know, really have experienced this push to digital living on Zooms and things like that. And that means that skill sets are going to have to adapt moving forward too. And I'm really interested in all of your unique perspectives on how you think that might manifest in the areas that you work. So I'm actually going to start with Pat again. You know, looking at the world of independent consultants, people out there on their own doing things, what skills do you think will be the most beneficial moving forward, and what would be your advice on how to acquire them?
Okay, so there's two facets to this, because I've lived on all sides of it, right? I was a business owner for 10 years, lived the dream, had the fun Keeana's having every day. I have worked for, you know, hardware and software vendors. I've worked for market research companies, and I've been independent. And when you become an independent entity, the hardest thing to remember is you're a business, right? And you have to start behaving like a business. That means that you do need to understand the value of what you're bringing to the table, but you also need to be constantly on the lookout for net new skills that you can bring to the table that maybe other people in the marketplace are not looking at. So one of the weird things I started doing years ago is I got interested in augmented reality and artificial intelligence. And I just started keeping, you know, I get the newsletters. I get weird newsletters. I get the OLED, the organic LED light emitting diode newsletters, right? You know, I read the Topan newsletters, and they're all over the map. I get newsletters that are, I try to get all the vendor newsletters when they're sending them out because I learn from them, but I try to, you know, a lot of printing companies are doing newsletters. I got this really cool, I can't reach it. Yes, I can. I've got a really cool magazine from a printer today. It's called
Which printer?
Milkshake. It's Milkshake. This is from Hudson Printing in Salt Lake
Yay.
City. They're in the process of putting another new press in. And so I try to read all those things. So what am I trying to learn out of that is I'm trying to understand where the gaps are in what people are doing, right? I'm trying to, you know, if I can bring my understanding of how you can use augmented reality to benefit your customers in a marketing context, then I have value to you. If I can help you understand how to better automate your workflow, because I've seen some really bad ones, and I am aware of technologies that might help you automate your offset analog press and bring it into a digital world, then I've got value to you. So the recommendation I make to everybody is go look for the pieces that nobody else is looking at and make that part of your talk track.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So you take your base knowledge and find the little, you know,
Yeah.
find those spikes on the
I
virus.
call it the holes in the wine list. Like, what are the things that are missing? And I
Yeah.
have literally made the printerverse is literally born from that, what is everyone talking about? And, from the perch I have in my LinkedIn group, which is the #1 print group in the world, I see waves of people, like, all of a sudden they're all asking about this thing, or all of a sudden they're all asking about this thing. And if I can figure out a way to provide that information in a manner that no one else is providing it, then
Exactly.
I have something of value there. So I appreciate
But remember the most important thing, and it's a conversation you and I have had a lot. When you become an independent entity offering your services, or you're in the role that Kelly or Keeana is, where they're running businesses, or what V and Julie are doing in the context of the organizations they serve. It's a business, right? So treat it with that respect.
Right.
Make sure you understand what you have to offer and be able to talk about it.
Yeah, thank you so much. V, what skills are you going to be looking for that you think in the next few years in regard to corporate marketing and corporate communications and things of that nature?
So it's interesting. We've had some change in our group. So the skill set I'm looking for actually right in this moment is actually digital marketing. And so yes, we're a paper company, and we think that print on paper is the most optimal way to reach people. However, we also recognize that whole omni-channel, multi-channel, and the importance of digital and, having your presence online, understanding the analytics and what's working, and tracking and evaluating your campaigns. And so for us, it's really going to be that digital piece and how we do a better job at reaching our customers and potential customers, do a better job at communicating with them and making sure that what we're doing with them is hitting them in the way it needs to. It's the right content at the right time in the right place. So that's going to be critical. And the other thing for us is that longer term strategic planning. That's going to be really important as the world evolves, as businesses evolve, as the industry changes and shifts. Just really thinking about how we plan for the future and think about what products we need, what campaigns we need, what types of customers we need to serve. So really thinking about that strategic focus.
Now, for your digital marketing people, do you also want them to bring like an understanding of SEO and better ways for you to improve your engagement for your own company, as well as being able to target people out there and deliver them content?
Yes. All of
just
the above.
Just a yes. Okay. Well, I like the short and succinct answer. Thank you so much. One question though, do you think that there's, is there an opportunity perhaps for some of people that might have the print and marketing skills to take on further education and learn the other skills and then become more valuable to your company? Is that something you recommend that people find out about before their job is maybe relegated to we don't need that type of help anymore?
So it's interesting. I think that we'll always need some components of that kind of help, especially as a paper company. But within this industry, I think it's really important. I think that people should just be consummate learners. So it doesn't matter if you do this today. When you have spare time, figure out how to do something else, because the things that I know how to do today, I didn't go to school for. I learned these things on my own. I sought out information in different spaces. And I think that if you are a print marketer, or you're a print designer, or you are a printer, then figuring out how you can add that added bundle even to your own personal repertoire of what you can add to the company, or as your business, what you can add for your clients. If your customer can come to you as a one-stop shop versus having to go to 5 different companies to get things, whether it's design services or content or SEO or printing, then that really does make you more valuable. And if you as an individual can provide more things to the company, then that makes you more valuable. And so I've told the people that all report to me in this time of uncertainty, where we were all sitting at home and business was down and all of that, go take a class, go do, go learn something, go add something to your resume, put letters on the back of your name, whatever you need to do to constantly evolve so that you are either more valuable to Domtar, or if something happens and we need to downsize or you want to go do something different, then you are more valuable to the next position. And so constantly adding to that tool belt.
Yeah, I was working in advertising when the big dot-com boom happened, right? And I'm sitting, I was working in print. There was no I'm dating myself, but there was no internet. There wasn't even ads. It was websites. Like there were no ads or anything like that. But I'm sitting there and I'm like, this seems to be something that I probably shouldn't ignore. And I started learning about these digital files and all of this stuff, to the point where I was able to call myself an integrated project manager. And I was like literally one of the first people who understood both of those worlds. And I was able to ride through that, dot-com boom, freelancing anywhere I wanted. I used to be like, nope, it's too far on the east side of Manhattan. It'll take me too long to get there. I would literally be turning away jobs because I had this unique set of skills because I saw the writing on the wall. So that is kind of what, is interesting too. Look at the kind of jobs, if you're in a big corporation, that people are looking, that your company is looking for. Is it something that could be beneficial for the company to have somebody who could do what you do and what someone else does in one skill? Because that's why I learned this integrated project management thing, because they didn't want two people doing these jobs. They wanted one person who understood both. So I like what I'm saying is, to all the print and marketing people out there who focus on print marketing, start learning about strategies for digital marketing. You don't have to know how to make the files, but understand how it works, what retargeting is, what remarketing is, what the privacy issues are. And we're going to have a conversation about that later, but I think it's all really important. Julie, what kind of skills are industry associations going to be focused on acquiring employees with in the next couple of years?
Well, any association exists to serve a community or to serve an industry. And so providing value, of course, to that constituency is everything. I think, well, you're going to need some skills to understand how to keep a finger on the pulse of what's going on with that group. You can't say, you can't sit back and go, oh, I know my membership. If you haven't polled it or, really gone out there and made it an effort to truly understand who they are and where they're at and what matters to them. So I do believe that there's a great value in partnering with or understanding how to even do your own, the right kind of polling or finding information about your audience. So that goes beyond just the tangible skills you need to actually communicate to them. It can be challenging in the printing industry because sometimes you have an audience that doesn't want to know about digital, doesn't want you to, you shouldn't be sending me emails. You should be sending me postcards and flyers and things in the mail to support the industry. And so you've got to balance that when you're marketing to this group with, but you guys are still all on LinkedIn, right? You're still using these tools. So, you shouldn't chastise your associations for using whatever tools you're using to communicate. And so you kind of got to find people where they are, and sometimes push a little bit to understanding where they're going to be as well. So, I have actually found dealing with younger marketers now that it goes back to what we've talked about with education earlier in the program. They've been learned nothing about print. And so if I'm working with, people who actually don't know what it takes to put together a personalized direct mail campaign. And so we've got to work with our own staff, make sure that they're educated in both ways. We're out there doing what we need to do. Personally, I've had to learn how to use GitHub, to update websites. I'm like, oh my God, this is like coding. And so I'm taking a few classes on that in the background. It's like, I think V said it, you have to be in a state of constant learning yourself and not afraid to look forward to what's going to be used for communication, to know that. But don't forget about, especially with print communication, you've got to keep a good mix going.
Thank you so much. Keeana, small business owners got very pivotal last year, had to pick up a lot of skills. I still speak to print shops today that are running on fumes. They have their family coming in at night to help fulfill things, and they're learning how to run machines. And I mean, I'm not saying that you're looking for people like that, but I'm just saying that printers, will do whatever it takes to get the job done. So as a small business owner of your print shop, what skills and that you're looking for to hire people moving forward are you really focusing on finding?
It's pretty much in alignment with what the ladies have been saying today. It has to be an integration with digital marketing. And we're looking for people who have more of a niche. Because when you talk about digital marketing, it's so large. So you got email marketing, you got text marketing, even down to the social media platforms, because we're becoming much more focused on the marketing and the visual side than just the print. And that's honestly how we've been able to survive, because I saw, the difference between 5 and 6 years ago when everybody was printing 5,000 and 10,000 flyers to promote their event, to where that quantity continued to decrease. But that's because they were pushing more in digital. So you have to know the digital space. So I would say anybody that knows how to integrate print and digital, I'm sure everybody's seen the emergence of QR codes, which I love as an example, because they've been around for years and nobody asked about a QR code. Now, no restaurant comes in here without saying, hey, I need this QR code integrated on my menu, or I need coasters. So that, to me, that someone who knows how to integrate print and digital, but we're definitely gearing more towards the digital space. And something else is, as we all know, technology is continuing to replace us, continues to replace us. Canva is a good example of that. So what once was a very niche skill with graphic design, which we still do a lot of graphic design people, technology is constantly being created to replace some of the things that may have been what we specialized in. So we're always looking for people who are more forward thinking in the digital marketing space. But like I said, even more than that, very niche. If I can get someone who truly understands just the email marketing world, the Instagram advertising world, because Instagram is different, than Facebook. All of these platforms are different. And because they change so much and the algorithms continue to change and the rules continue to change daily in the digital, I know it drives me crazy too. I know it drives all of us crazy. I'm old school, new school. I've been doing this a long time. So it drives me crazy too, how much things change. We literally want someone who can focus on each of these areas. And then we become less about, we do all of these things in the marketing space, and more about, we do these 2 or 3 things very well. So that's the type of talent we're looking for, so we can really hone in on what we do well in the digital marketing space.
Thanks so much. Kelly, in your sales, with your sales coaching hat on, what are the skills that sales professionals should be developing in the next coming years as we move out of the pandemic?
The real short answer is they need to focus on being buyer responsive. And the definition of that is that you communicate with your customers where they want to communicate with you, how they want to communicate with you, when they want to communicate with you. And that may mean that we don't use the phone the way we used to. The phone is not a real effective way to talk to people anymore. But we can have conversations over email. We can have conversations in LinkedIn Private Messenger. We can have conversations over Zoom. So we have to be comfortable with the tools, embrace the change, and decide that I might have a call with a 25-year-old at 12 o'clock and a 70-year-old at 4 o'clock. I have to adapt, excuse me. So that's the short answer. Sorry, that was pretty much my short answer, because I know we're running low on time. So
okay, well, you can have a couple more if you want to say anything else. Well, I'll let me start you off a little because I know that there are actually other things, because we've spoken about it, and we've spoken about that sales professionals need to become more marketers, and they also need to invest in the confidence, or getting the confidence to be content creators as well. Do you want to address that at all?
Yeah, I think I think that people get in their own heads a little bit too much and they think, well, I'm not a writer. Well, I'm not, well, I'm not this. I think as has been mentioned several times today, people tend to sell themselves short. We are experts. We are subject matter experts. We have ideas and we understand the effectiveness of print in general as a crucial part of the marketing supply chain. And so when we think about it that way, and we, again, approach, as many people here today said, that graphic arts and print solve problems, we can approach any particular potential customer as understanding that they have a problem and print solves it. And so again, being able to tell that story, whether it's telling the story via video or a micro blog even, I bet you can tell it in 200 words. You could sure tell it with some photographs of a pretty project and put those up on Instagram. Like Keeana mentioned, all the channels are different, but we know Instagram likes pretty pictures, right? And anybody can take a picture and put it up there. And so we just, again, need to embrace the tools and use them in the places where our customers are going to be in a position to receive it, and and be consistent about it. And whether that's a team effort and one of you is in charge of taking pictures and one of you is in charge of making videos and one of you writes it down and does little mini articles. I mean, you can write those articles directly into LinkedIn if you want to, if you don't want to put a blog on your website. But as Deborah taught me, Google loves it when you update your website. So why not put a bunch of content and regularly put new stuff on your website so that you're showing up in the algorithms? Because 70% of the buying decision is happening before anyone has ever spoken to anybody at your organization. That means you got to have a good website. It means you got to have a social media presence.
And it means that you either have to develop those skills to bring them to the table or understand how it works, so that when you want to bring, you might need to bring that idea to a company, by the way. You might be out there going, okay, they don't even have a social media accounts. Like, how does anyone think we're going to get anyone under 50 buying print from us or buying anything from us if we're not out there in some manner? So
Right.
Thank you so much. I agree with everything you just said.
Thank you.
Ladies, this panel goes so fast. We do it every year as attached with the GIRLIE Award. I just want to thank you all so much for sharing your time and your thought leadership and your advice and your information. And we will be back in 1 minute with our next panel, Selling Yourself. Thank you so much, everybody.